The New York Jets, fresh off their 3-game win streak, head to Denver. Can they make it 4 in a row? Hey, what's going on? Matt O'Leary back with another video today. Before we get started, just want to mention where you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY. If you haven't already, also please make sure to check out the Just Jets podcast. Wherever it is that you get your podcast, you can call in and leave me your reactions after games. We'll get to them on the show. So these two teams, I think if you ask the average NFL fan heading into this Week 7 matchup, what would these two teams, what would their records be? And I think most people would say that these would be flipped, that the Jets would be 2-4 and the Broncos would be 4-2. Well, not so fast, because the New York Jets are 4-2 heading into this game, a very winnable game on the road. Let's break down the DVOA matchups, how they match up offensively and defensively. Offensively, Jets are 23rd overall in the league in offensive DVOA. Not great, but Denver Broncos 27. They are a bottom rung offense. They have scored over 20 points one time in a loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. They put up 23 points. Defensive DVOA, much better for these teams. Jets 12, very nice. Broncos 2, that's awesome. So obviously these two teams have pretty good defenses. Offenses been inconsistent for the Jets and just flat out bad for the Broncos. Before we get into the full preview, let's do the Mojo segment. Who stock is up, who stock is down. Today we're going to look at the Wilsons. Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson actually went up slightly this week by 0.005%. So a very marginal increase. He wasn't fantastic in his game against the Packers this past week. Didn't throw the ball a whole lot, just 18 times. So don't really notice that much of a change here. As for Russell Wilson, he is down 1.45%. So he is trending in the wrong way. Obviously, as a veteran, priced significantly higher than what Zach Wilson is, but he's trending the wrong way. I would advise against buying any stock in Russell Wilson right now because things don't look better. And there's a chance that he might not play. His hamstring is really banged up. So perhaps maybe Josh Johnson comes in and plays. Brett Rippin comes in and plays. It's that'd be interesting. That would be very interesting if we saw either of those two guys get on the field. But the key to this New York Jets versus Denver Broncos game for me is the run game. And the reason why is because the Denver Broncos, we said they are second in defensive DVOA, but against the pass, they are number 1. There is no team harder to pass against than the Denver Broncos. They rank just 18th versus the run. This screams Breece Hall. Hall has been fantastic over the last few weeks. He has put up monster numbers, had his first 100-yard rushing game, ran the ball 20 times against the Packers last week. Week prior, I think it was 97 yards, but had 100 receiving yards and a touchdown. He's been fantastic. It just absolutely loves it. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. 18 for 97, 1 touchdown, and 100 receiving yards. This past week, 20 for 116 and a touchdown. He has 4 touchdowns on the year. When the Jets score touchdowns, he wins the game usually. So maybe a parlay with the Jets win and Breece Hall anytime touchdown. Maybe that's the way that you want to go. But in this one, I just want to mention, this is probably not the game where you want Zach Wilson to air it out, right? And I've seen all the comments. There's been a ton of people who they don't like that Zach only threw the ball 18 times. He hasn't thrown a lot the last 2 weeks. Hasn't looked that great since coming back. You've heard every single narrative. They're 3-0. They continue to win football games. And he's really just managed the games the last 2 weeks. Hasn't turned the ball over, but that's not enough. And if you're one of those people who is expecting a big performance, 250 plus yards, maybe 300, 3 touchdowns, it's not coming against this defense. That's not the area where you could beat the Denver Broncos. Where you can beat them, running right at them, which the Jets do really well. Their offensive line has been fantastic run blocking. Laken Tomlinson got exponentially better the last few weeks. Dwayne Brown has been fantastic since returning from injury. AVT's been fine on the right side of the line. Nate Herbig's come in and played a really nice job. So for the Jets offense, I think the key is to run the ball. And then defensively, that Denver offensive line, stinks. They let up 3.3 sacks per game. Now, if this was earlier in the season, I might be a little bit concerned because the Jets defense, first few weeks of the year, really nothing all that special. Defensive line, well underachieving. Last 3 weeks or so, they have turned it on. Quinnen Williams has been fantastic. Carl Lawson's been fantastic. Hell, Sheldon Rankins, John Franklin Myers, two kind of unsung heroes of this defensive line. They're getting pressure with 4. And if they do that again in Denver, it's going to be a long day for whoever is playing quarterback for the Denver Broncos on Sunday. So with that, I'll get into my stat predictions. We'll do Wilson and Breece Hall. I don't expect the wide receivers to be involved that much this week, so no predictions for them. Zach Wilson, I'll say 14 of 22, 143 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. That will send the people up in flames. They'll be in extremely upset that that's not over 200 yards and that he only threw the ball 22 times and another week without a touchdown. But Breece Hall, I expect to have a big day. I have him at 19 carries, 98 yards, and 1 touchdown. So slightly under 100 yards, but still a very effective day for our guy, Breece Hall, which is really no surprise. So what about from the gambling perspective, the betting perspective? Well, you guys know the drill. This section is brought to you by BUSR, the official sportsbook of Matt O'Leary NY. They have a new offer for you, 150% free play bonus up to $2,500. This is for your first deposit only. Jets are slight underdogs in this game. They are 2-point underdogs currently as of recording this over on BUSR. So if you're interested in getting in on that, you absolutely can use my link to sign up. I am 3-3 for against the spread so far picking, and I like the Jets this week. I am taking them +2, Jets +2, and I think they win the game outright. My score prediction for this one, I'll say Jets 20, Broncos 13. I think the offense does just enough. I also like the under in this game, which is a pretty low number, but still, the under looks like the way to go here because I don't really see either of these offenses really having that great of a day. And you know what? It might be one of those weeks where it looks like, hey, this game turned back football 100 years, but wins are wins. Pile them up. Keep stacking them. That's it, man. Continue to just play your game. And then a huge game against the New England Patriots back at home the following week before you have the Buffalo Bills. This next stretch of games is huge for the New York Jets. I think they do just enough offensively. I don't trust this Broncos offense at all. I don't think they're going to be able to keep Russell Wilson, Rippin, Josh Johnson, either of those 3 quarterbacks, whoever the hell plays. I don't think they'll be able to keep them upright. I think Quinnen Williams will have a nice day. I think the linebackers will be able to continue to have a nice day. Quan Alexander and CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams, all 3 of those guys I thought looked good against the Green Bay Packers, and I think that continues. Now, Casey is 4-2 against the spread. Let's see who she likes this week. Even the dog likes the New York Jets. How about that? The dog going for the underdog Jets, but they probably shouldn't be underdogs in this game. I think the Jets win this one outright. I understand it's a home game, but this is pretty much saying that the Jets and Broncos are even on a neutral site field. No, I don't buy that for a second. Denver's a tough place to play. I get that. The Jets never fare well on the road. Does not matter. This team is playing awful football right now in the Denver Broncos. They are extremely beatable. The Jets are smoking hot. They are red hot right now. The running game is cooking. The pass rush is cooking. And those 2 things will lead you to a victory. I think the Jets roll on Sunday. So let me know what you think about this game down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. I'll catch you next time.